They never spelled it out, no whispered I love you, no endless paragraphs at 2 a.m., no movie-style proposals or grand public gestures. But man, the way they looked at you, that was a novel. The kind you read twice and still don't fully understand. Their silence, louder than an anthem. And their actions, oh, their actions shouted the words their mouth was too afraid to say. Carl Jung once said, your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. So today we're not just skimming the surface, we're going inward, because the deepest kind of love, it doesn't always sparkle. Sometimes it hides in eye contact, in the fact they waited for you in the rain, in how they remembered your coffee order when you forgot it yourself. If you've ever found yourself lying awake wondering, do they feel it too, but just don't know how to say it? Keep reading. These signs, they aren't romantic guesses. They're grounded in real human psychology, in truth that lives below the noise. Let's begin. Chapter 1, they mirror you without even realizing it. The body often confesses what the heart is still hiding. Jung nailed it again. We meet ourselves time and again in 1,000 disguises on the path of life. So let me ask, have you noticed them mimicking you? Maybe they tilted their head the same way you just did mid-convo. Or started using your favorite slang out of nowhere. Suddenly your go-to phrase, it's theirs. Your emoji, now showing up in their texts. Even your laugh, it echoes back at you, same rhythm, same pitch. You lean in, they lean in. You sigh, they sigh. They never said they were watching. But clearly they were absorbing. And no, it's not coincidence. It's mirroring. A deep psychological imprinting our brains do when we want to feel closer to someone, without even realizing it. In neuroscience we call this the magic of mirror neurons. These tiny brain cells fire not only when we act, but when we see someone else do the same. And guess what happens when someone's drawn to you on an emotional, possibly even spiritual level? Their brain starts syncing with yours. It's like they're saying, I want to be in your world, so I'll meet you in the language of your body. It's subconscious, it's real, and it's loud as hell if you know how to listen. They don't even know they're doing it. That's the wild part. They're not trying to copy you. Their nervous system just wants to match your frequency. They pick up your sarcasm, mirror your excitement, reflect your stillness. They become your echo, your subtle twin in energy. And let's be honest, people don't mirror those they're indifferent to. They don't unconsciously adopt habits, tones, or gestures from someone who doesn't stir their soul. So next time they finish your sentence or unknowingly mirror your movements, don't ignore it. That's love leaking out the seams. That's their body writing poetry their lips haven't dared speak yet. Quote to keep in your pocket. When words fail, the body speaks, and it always tells the truth. Chapter 2, they pull away when you get close. Empathetic, because love, real love, isn't always easy, especially when it's tied to old wounds. Jung reminds us, knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. Let's get real. Have you felt someone light up when they're with you, laughing, vibing, present, then suddenly vanish into emotional fog? You didn't change. You didn't mess up, but they're gone, cold, distant, like someone else hijacked their heart. Here's what's happening. They didn't run because you scared them. They ran because feelings scared them. Because love, especially when it's unspoken, can be terrifying. It's not logical. It's emotional. It cracks open places people have spent years cementing shut. So what do? They dance between closeness and escape. One minute they're leaning in, next minute they're backing off. Not because they don't feel anything, but because they feel too much. And it shakes something raw in them. People who haven't healed, they fear intimacy not because it's bad, but because it's honest. And honesty means exposure. Exposure means risk, and risk to someone who's been hurt feels a lot like danger. So they ghost, they joke instead of feel. They shut down, scroll aimlessly, talk about the weather, anything but you. Not because they don't care, but because caring feels like giving you the sharpest tool to cut them open. And that's the paradox. They want love desperately. But love is also the scariest thing they know. So what do? You don't chase. You don't try to fix. You don't make their healing your assignment. You breathe. You stay grounded. You let them find the safety within themselves before trying to build it with you. And if the love is real, they'll come back. Not with noise, but with readiness. And this time they won't have to run. Quote for your soul. They didn't pull away because they didn't care. They pulled away because you got too close to the parts they hide from the world. Chapter 3. They tease you more than others. When laughter is just a love letter in disguise. The pendulum of the mind oscillates between sense and nonsense. Not between right and wrong. Carl Jung. You've seen it, right? That one person who's got a special kind of teasing reserved just for you. They give you weird nicknames. Poke fun at the way you talk or walk or zone out mid-sentence. They joke about your playlist, your coffee addiction, your laugh that squeaks a little when you're really into it. To everyone else it might seem like harmless banter. Just a funny person being funny. But you feel it. There's something more tucked beneath the sarcasm. Because when someone feels something real but isn't ready to admit it, they don't always go quiet. Sometimes they go funny. Teasing becomes their safe zone. A way to flirt, connect, be close without laying their heart out on the table. It's not because they don't care. It's because they care so much they have to hide it behind a jokes. So instead of, like you, they throw out a playful, you're such a weirdo. Instead of, you're all I think about, they'll say, you're probably the most chaotic person I know, and that's saying something. And they'll laugh. But behind that laugh is hope. Hope that you'll see through it. Because humor for them isn't just humor. It's an emotional translator. It lets them express connection without risking vulnerability. And here's what's wild. They don't tease everyone. That particular flavor of playful roasting. It's reserved. It's curated. It's yours. Pay attention. They watch your reactions when they tease you. Their eyes search your face like they're decoding something. They smile and look away the second you meet their gaze. It's like they're trying to say something but scared it'll come out too real. Why do they remember your weird food preferences? Why do they mock your taste in music like they've secretly memorized every song? Because they've been watching closely. And teasing is just how they've learned to keep you in their orbit. They don't do it to wound. They do it to stay close. They do it to create a rhythm, a private language. It's their little way of saying, this is how I connect with you in a way only we understand. So yeah, teasing can feel light, even silly. But don't dismiss it. Sometimes it's emotional camouflage. Sometimes it's the only way they know how to flirt without falling apart. Because for them, jokes are safer than confessions. And laughter, well, it's easier than saying I'm terrified of how much I care. Quote, they don't tease you because they don't care. They tease you because it's the only way they know how to stay close without saying too much. Chapter 4. They remember what you forgot. The heart writes in ink the mind can't erase. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. Let me paint a moment. You're in the middle of a conversation, not even thinking twice, and you casually mention your favorite snack from childhood. Months pass, and then one day, boom, they show up with it. No occasion, no explanation. Just thought you might like this. Or maybe you once said you hate Mondays. Next Monday you wake up to a text. Hang in there, sending you coffee vibes. You didn't expect it. Honestly, you barely remembered saying it, but they did. Because someone who feels something for you, someone whose heart is secretly entangled with yours, doesn't just listen to reply, they listen to remember. And it's not about memory, not really. It's about presence. They weren't just hearing your voice, they were collecting you. Every word, every random detail, every throwaway sentence. They stored it like treasure. Because when love is involved, even unspoken love, the brain turns into an archive. Not of facts, but of feelings. It remembers how you looked when you said that thing. It holds on to your laugh, your sighs, your soft confessions when you didn't think they mattered. And here's the thing most people forget. Not because they're bad, just because they weren't really there. But someone who remembers your rainy day anxiety or the way you always avoid spicy food. They were paying attention. That's what emotional intimacy actually looks like. Not diamonds, not flowers, but a quiet, "You mentioned this once and I never forgot." Because love, when it's real, is attentive. It lingers in the details. It whispers, "If it mattered to you, it matters to me." So when someone brings up something you forgot you told them, pause, take it in. That's not just a thoughtful person. That's someone whose heart has bookmarked you. They didn't just hear you. They held on to you. Even when you let go of that memory, they kept it warm in their pocket. Because that's what real love does. It remembers. Quote, "The mind forgets, but the heart, it archives what truly matters." Chapter 5, they secretly watch you when you're not looking. The gaze that speaks louder than words. Your perception will become clear only when you can look into your soul. Carl Jung. You've felt it, haven't you? That subtle weight of someone's eyes on you. Not creepy, not cold, but warm, almost magnetic. Like your sunlight and they can't help but orbit for a moment. So you glance up and boom, they look away, fat, like they got caught stealing something sacred. Their face changes. Maybe they laugh. Maybe they suddenly need to check their phone. But don't be fooled. That tiny awkward second, it's overflowing with meaning. Because when someone watches you while you're not looking, they're not just looking. They're remembering. They're taking you in, your energy, your rhythm, your essence. It's not about appearance. It's about emotion. They're noticing how you talk with your hands, how your eyes glaze when you overthink, how you bite your lip when you're holding something back. This isn't surface-level interest. This is quiet admiration, the kind that doesn't ask for attention. It just is. They're not staring because they want something from you. They're watching because they feel something for you. And the only way to be near it safely is through those stolen glances when you don't see them. Because let's be real, when love is unspoken, the eyes become messengers. And when words feel too risky, the gaze becomes the confession. They watch you in those unguarded moments. Because that's when you're most you. And something about that version of you, it disarms them. It softens them. It scares them in the best way. They'll never admit it. They'll joke it off. They'll say, "What, I wasn't looking." But you'll know. You'll feel it, that moment where time slowed, and their eyes were speaking things they didn't have language for. And the wild part, they might not even fully realize they're doing it. But their soul does. Quote, "They don't look away because they don't care. They look away because they care too much and don't know what to do with it." Chapter 6. They listen to you differently when their ears become windows to their heart. The most powerful tool of connection is being heard without being judged. Inspired by Jungian thought, ever start talking to someone and suddenly feel seen? Not just heard, seen. Like they weren't just catching your words, they were catching you. Every emotion, every shift in tone, every pause that said more than your sentence. And then it hits you. They're not just listening to respond to her. They're listening to understand. In a world where people zone out mid-conversation, where "how are you" is just filler noise, this kind of listening, it's rare, it's holy, because someone who secretly loves you won't just nod along. They'll lean in emotionally, mentally, spiritually. They'll track your stories like they matter, because to them they do. They'll notice when you say you're fine but your eyes don't match. They'll pick up on the hesitation in your voice when you talk about your past. They'll remember the names you casually mentioned once. Your brother, your childhood dog, the best friend who broke your heart. And they'll bring them up later, like they were memorizing you the whole time. Why? Because they were. That kind of presence isn't performance. It's reverence. It's what happens when someone's heart opens just by being near yours. They're not just listening to facts. They're listening to your feelings, to the moments between the words, to the parts you didn't even realize you were sharing. Even your rants, they matter. Even your spirals at 2 a.m., they're not too much. They don't flinch. They just stay. And staying in this loud, distracted, hyper-connected world is a radical act of love. Because to truly listen to someone is to say, "You're safe here. I want the real you, not the filtered one." So the next time someone looks at you like you're saying something that deserves to be framed, don't brush it off. They're not just being polite. They're building a bridge, one word at a time. Quote, "They listen not to your words, but to your silences." And that's how you know they feel something deeper. Chapter 7. Their behavior changes around you. When the soul recognizes what the ego tries to hide. A man who has not passed through the inferno of his passions has never overcome them. Carl Jung. You walk into a room and everything shifts. They're mid-convo, but suddenly they forget what they were saying. Their hands start fidgeting. They laugh a little too loud at a joke that wasn't that funny. Or they go totally quiet, eyes darting, like their brain just crashed. It's subtle, but undeniable. Something changes in them the second you show up. That's not randomness. That's not awkwardness. That's resonance. Because when someone feels something for you, something big, something messy, something they're scared to name, their body reacts first, before logic, before word. Some get louder, like they're trying to prove they're unaffected. Some shrink, as if your presence pulled them into themselves. They may avoid eye contact, or hold it a little too long. They might brag, or suddenly become humble. It's inconsistent, sometimes confusing, but always real. That emotional turbulence, that's their soul glitching under the weight of a truth they haven't dared speak yet. You make them feel, and that terrifies them, because feelings, they aren't safe, they're vulnerable. They expose, and if they've ever been hurt before, they're now doing a dance between wanting you and protecting themselves from you. So they act out, they perform, they flinch, not because of you, but because of what you represent. Connection, intimacy, risk. Their ego tries to stay cool, but the heart always leaks through. It leaks in the way their voice stumbles, in the way their jokes fall flat, in how they suddenly get quiet when you speak, like they don't want to miss a single syllable. They might not know why they act differently around you, but their body knows, their soul knows. You trigger something they've buried, and if you've ever wondered why do they act so strange when I'm around, now you know. It's not confusion, it's emotional recognition, because some connections don't knock politely. They kick the door in. Quote, "The heart knows, the body reacts, the ego panics, and the soul remembers." Chapter 8. They take care of you without asking anything back. Love without expectation is the rarest form of all. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Carl Jung. You never asked. You didn't say, check in on me. You didn't mention you skipped lunch. But somehow they knew. A quiet message pops up. Don't forget to eat today. They notice the slump in your shoulders, the shift in your voice, the tiredness behind your eyes, even when you insist you're fine. And they respond. Not with a lecture, not with expectations, but with presence, with simple, honest care. That right there is the kind of love that doesn't announce itself. It just exists. No spotlight, no drama, no receipts being saved for future payback. Because when someone genuinely cares, they don't wait for a green light to act on that care. They move from instinct, from intuition, from love that lives in the bones, not just the mouth. They leave water by your bed when you're sick. They remember your grandmother's birthday, even if you forget. They send you memes when you're spiraling. Not to fix you, but to say, you're not alone. They don't take care of you to be owed something. They take care of you because they can't not. Because your well-being is quietly stitched into their day. And they'd never ask for credit. They're not keeping score. They just love in the background like air. Always there. Always essential. Rarely noticed. And if you've ever had someone love you like that, cherish it. Because most people offer affection with terms and conditions. They want attention, validation, a return on investment. But this is sacred. This is devotion. This is the kind of love that doesn't raise its voice but still leaves an echo. That doesn't say, look what I did for you, but rather, I noticed, so I showed up. No pressure, no demands, just love showing up in small acts. Silently, consistently, relentlessly. And if you've ever received that kind of love, please don't overlook it. Because in a world full of what can you give me, someone who gives from the heart, just because you exist, that's not just love. That's a miracle wrapped in human skin. Quote, real love doesn't keep score. It doesn't calculate. It just shows up quietly, again and again. Conclusion. When silence becomes the loudest confession, they never said it. No I love you. No late-night confession. No handwritten letter tied with string. But you felt it. You felt it in the way they looked at you, when they thought you wouldn't notice. In the way they remembered your offhand stories you didn't even remember telling. In the teasing, the distance, the check-ins disguised as jokes, the nervousness every time things got too quiet, too real. Because sometimes love doesn't arrive dressed in roses. Sometimes it shows up, clumsy, afraid, disguised in sarcasm and overthought text messages. It's not that they didn't want to say it. It's that saying it made it real. And real things can break. Real things can be rejected. Real things hurt. So they chose safety. They loved you from the shadows, from behind the curtain, hoping you'd feel it, even if they never found the words. And now, maybe you do. Maybe it all makes sense now. Maybe every just checking in was a silent I miss you. Every joke, a hidden you matter to me. Every awkward silence, a battle between fear and truth. You don't need to guess anymore. The signs were always there. Whispers written between the lines. Breadcrumbs left behind by a heart too scared to be seen but desperate to be known. So now I'll ask you, have you ever felt this kind of love? Have you ever seen the signs in someone's silence? Have you ever wondered if maybe they loved you all along, but just didn't know how to say it. If so, share your story, not just for them, but for all of us who have loved in silence, waited in hope, and carried unspoken words like tiny weights in our chest. Let's break that silence together. Let's create a space for hearts that never got to speak. And if someone came to mind while you read this, someone whose actions always said more than their words ever did, maybe it's time. Maybe they've been waiting for you to go first. No pressure, no declaration, just a simple message that says, I saw the signs too. Because sometimes all it takes is one moment of truth to break years of quiet pretending. And maybe, just maybe, they were never trying to hide it. They were just waiting for you to finally see it. Before you scroll, if this stirred something in you, like this video, subscribe if you believe in quiet love, emotional truth, and the psychology of human connection, and hit the bell icon. Because here at Mindful Sphere, we don't just talk about feelings, we feel them. Remember, love doesn't always knock. Sometimes it waits, silently, patiently, hoping you'll turn around and finally recognize its eyes. Note, some people love you in silence, hoping one day you'll hear what they never said. Today we talked about how love can speak through glances, gestures, and silence. Explore the unconscious with us. Subscribe so you don't miss the next videos.